Show your support. Like, share and subscribe. Hello, I am that British guy and welcome to my predictions for TLC. Now it's a bit of a weird card, this one. There's a few feuds on there that have definitely outstayed their welcome. There's some that have received little to no build whatsoever. And it's pretty much all revolving around the main event. Granted, you could have said that slightly about Hell in a Cell, but there were a few other bits and pieces that had people intrigued, and it turned out to be a very good show. I have a feeling TLC will just be known as a one-match card though, although I hope that's not the case. So let's get started straight away with the pre-show match between Alicia Fox and Sasha Banks. A feud that they kind of did in the summer really badly, resulting in Sasha Banks sort of making an arrival on 205 Live a bit, and it didn't really do anything for anyone then, so quite why they're trying to revisit this. Firstly, so soon after doing that, and why they would even bother at all, I'm not really sure, because just what is the point? Sasha keeps beating Alicia Fox, as well she should. Hopefully she does the same here. Definitely going to have to go for a Sasha Banks win. I don't really see the point in Alicia Fox working for the company anymore. I know that sounds horrible. She would probably be better served working down in NXT, trying to be that first big name for the women down there to face, sort of when they first start out. I think that would be her role now. There's just no other point to her on the roster. She's never in the title picture. She's not that great a worker and cannot act at all. She's got no personality, so hopefully that will be the end of it. Moving on to the show proper, I'm going to stick with the women's division for the time being. First up, we have the title defence. Alexa Bliss versus Mickie James for the Raw Women's Championship. It's been quite a quick build. It's been a fairly sort of one-dimensional build, but it's been fun for what it is. It freshens things up a bit. We haven't really seen Alexa and Mickie together involved in something properly since they both came over from Raw. So this should be quite a nice match. And Alexa Bliss really could use this victory, which I predict she will get over Mickie James, to really establish herself as a dominant force. I have a feeling that she is going to hold the title until possibly WrestleMania, when she loses it to Asuka. And obviously within that time she just needs to kind of rack up a few big wins just to make herself feel even more credible for when Asuka finally wins the title. And it seems silly jumping the title around before Asuka wins it, because otherwise we get the whole Bayley situation from last year and it just feels flatter than it should. So hopefully they will have learnt from that. They'll keep the title on Alexa Bliss and we can have a big marquee match at WrestleMania. I think Alexa Bliss would deserve that as well after the good 18 months that she will have had up until that point on SmackDown and on Raw. So yeah, Alexa Bliss for the win here, and hopefully all the way until WrestleMania. Speaking of Asuka, we have her main roster debut. Now a few months ago I actually booked this myself. It was my first booking video, so please check out how I would have done it. Granted, it was slightly different from this. She appeared much earlier in the year, but hopefully WWE will book her as dominant on the main roster as she was on NXT, obviously relinquishing the title undefeated. Here she is facing Emma, and yeah, this has to be an Asuka win, doesn't it, really? She has to keep that undefeated streak until she drops the title. There is no point in bringing her up and giving her a loss before she wins the Raw Women's Championship. She has to win the title and hold it for maybe even a year. Maybe do the whole Brock Lesnar thing, but with her. Let her hold on to it for a long, long time before she drops it. My guess is, as long as everyone is still sort of fighting fit, my guess is to Bayley. Just putting that out there now. Asuka wins at WrestleMania 34 against Alexa Bliss and drops it the following year at WrestleMania 35 to Bayley. Book it, WWE. You know that would sell tickets. Right, moving on to the rest of the card, away from the women's division. First up, we have Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt for the 4 millionth time. I don't even care. I didn't care last month or the month before. Finn probably wins again because Bray Wyatt loses all the time. I've thought that Bray Wyatt might get the win previously because of 50-50 booking, but that's not proving to be the case here. Finn just keeps winning and winning and winning, so he's probably going to win all over again here. So, going for Finn Balor win. And please, dear God, say that is the end of the feud. This has to finish. Right, we are going into Cruiserweight territory. First up, we have a tag team match between the Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher, taking on Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann. Apart from the match that I saw this Monday, the Alexander Gallagher match with the other two as sort of their managers at ringside, this has received absolutely nothing unless this has been a big build on 205 Live. And if it has, well, it just proves how much we all care about 205 Live. Now, Cedric Alexander got the win on Raw, and 50-50 booking would dictate that Gallagher and Kendrick win here. So that is who I'm going for. Win for the Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher, purely because of the whole 50-50 booking thing. This will probably then carry on to Raw the night after and 205 Live the night after that, but I don't really care, to be honest. Apart from the title picture, nothing else on 205 Live seems relevant, in which case they might as well end it and just have the Cruiserweight title as a section on Raw, because that's all anyone ever watches anyway. Speaking of the Cruiserweight title, next match we have Kalisto defending the Cruiserweight title against Enzo Amore. Obviously, we were meant to get this match anyway, but with Enzo as the title holder. But last week, due to the whole Neville situation, they brought that match forward, presumably so that they could just give Kalisto the belt for a quick pop to give it straight back to Enzo on the pay-per-view. Kalisto's not really going to do a lot with it. Enzo needs to be this dominant force, especially as he's got Drew Gulak, Noam Dar, and someone else in his corner, and I can't think who it is. Meh, 205 Live, no one cares. So he was always going to hold on to the title as long as possible, so he's going to win it back straight away here. We saw it with the whole Neville Tozawa thing. We saw it at SummerSlam with the whole Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks thing as well. They've done it quite a few times this year. Quickly give it to Kalisto and then take it straight back off of him and give it back to Enzo at the pay-per-view, which is what they're going to do here. So I'm going for an Enzo Amore win. And finally, we have the one match that really seems to count. The one thing Raw have really cared about since No Mercy, the Shield reunion, and they've rushed the whole thing, really, in my mind. The Dean and Seth getting back together for SummerSlam thing was very well done, and then they've just sort of crammed Roman in there because they need a big ticket selling statement. Because there won't be the likes of John Cena for this one like there was at No Mercy. Brock Lesnar's not around. So they needed that as their statement piece for the pay-per-view. And it's strange really that this is the TLC pay-per-view and this is the only match that has any kind of extra stipulation to it. And it's got the tables, the ladders and the chairs in it. There's no ladder match, there's no table match. Thank God there's not a chairs match, but there's nothing else at all. Why not make Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt a table match? Just to give it something different to the feud, because they haven't done that yet. Although they've been doing this feud for God knows how long. Make that a table match. Make it a bit more interesting. Make it a bit more destructive. Nope. Or either of the cruiserweight matches. Make them a ladder match to make it a little bit different. Nope. Or any of the women's matches. They're all just straight up singles matches. Why not put Alexa Bliss's title high up on a hook? Make that a TLC match as well. If they repeat what they did at Hell in a Cell by having a Hell in a Cell match right at the beginning and then one right at the end, it breaks it up. Which is probably what they're going to do with the Women's Rumble match when they do that at Royal Rumble. So they could have quite easily opened the show with a TLC match. And the great thing about the TLC stipulation is you've got, as I said, 3 different matches potentially there that are quite good. 4 if you want to use a chairs match, if you really want to. But at least you could have got a tables match, a ladder match and a TLC match. But instead they've just put everything on this Shield match. And if it doesn't deliver, the whole pay-per-view will suffer for it. Because that's all they're caring about. Anyway, they're taking on The Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro, Braun Strowman, Kane and The Miz. Now, if rumours are to be believed, the Intercontinental title was supposed to be going to Roman Reigns fairly soon to make him one of the Grand Slam champions. Why not cut out all the stupid fodder, keep it as a 3-on-3 match and make it a winner takes everything match? Put both the titles on the line. I know obviously we got the tag title match on Raw, but we've seen that match so many times in the last couple of months. And yes, they are only putting Roman in here to try and get him cheered by the crowd, but at least it makes it different. I think that would have told a much better story of these two groups, although the Miz and Bar group's a bit weird, but it would have made a lot more sense if it had been a winner-take-everything match. And then they could have got the Intercontinental title on Roman Reigns, and I guarantee you the crowd still will have cheered, because we're going to get a Shield victory here anyway, and the crowd will pop huge for that. So it will kind of take the bitter taste out of people's mouth, him winning the Intercontinental title and becoming a Grand Slam champion. Because if he does this then later in the year or early next year by just beating The Miz, the crowd will turn on him straight away. Whereas if they'd have done it here in this match, it would have been easier for everybody to take. And he needn't have held on to it for long, maybe a month, maybe 2, and then The Miz could have used the Miztourage to take the title back. So you're still getting what you want, he still becomes a Grand Slam champion. But instead we get a 5-on-3. It's going to be carnage, and I hope it's going to be very good carnage, but Kane returning was just random as hell, and he does not look in good shape. He does not look like when the Big Show returned, like he could actually put in a decent performance, which he proved he could do. Granted, it wasn't a wrestling clinic, but his matches this year against the likes of Big Cass and Braun Strowman were pretty credible for a guy of his age. But Kane did not look in good shape, so hopefully he kind of gets taken out fairly quickly out of the equation. I'm presuming the likes of The Miz and possibly Kane are just going to be sitting back directing traffic, letting the Bar and Braun Strowman do most of the work. I'm hoping. But again, this is Braun Strowman in a high profile match that he's going to lose so quickly after his loss against Brock Lesnar at No Mercy. It just feels very, very odd. And I hope, regardless of what I just said, that the match and the pay-per-view is vindicated, the rest of the card put on good matches as well, and this doesn't just boil down to this one match. But at the moment, I feel like it is. Anyway, that's enough ranting from me. Hopefully, we will get a very good pay-per-view. They were my thoughts on the matches. Please let me know what you think of the card and how you think it's going to pan out in the comments below. I have been That British Guy, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.